Hello friends and followers, welcome back to TJ's Modeling Bench. It is time for What Did You Buy Wednesday? Originally hosted by Joe over at Big Sky Model Workshop. I haven't been participating as much in this one, but here's another one for you. I got a few little things for the bench, some tools as it were, and a stash ad. So hang on a minute, let me turn the camera around and we'll take a look at them, all right? First up, from time to time, I need to use epoxy. Not very often, and this is the stuff that I had started using many years ago when I got into the RC hobby, and it's good. The problem I have with it is that the shelf life isn't great. I've found that over the years, it doesn't want to set up properly. It stays a little gummy, and it's hard to mix a proper ratio sometimes if you only really need a little bit. This stuff is getting old already, in fact. And then I also used this stuff, West System, for when I had to do larger RC airplane builds, you know, with fiberglass moldings and whatever. And this stuff is excellent. And it's mixed in a 3-to-1 ratio, but the pumps that come with it automatically do the 3-to-1. So just one pump of each one gets your proper ratios. And it's really nice, but you almost can't mix just a small batch. You know, something like we would use with our plastic models. This is going to create way too much. So what I found is this JB Weld. And it's basically the same as this stuff, but it comes in a tube that pre-mixes this nozzle. I don't think, yeah, maybe you can see. It's got the, what do they call it? Like the Archimedes screw. So as the A and B components come down the tube, they swirl together until you get the mix at the end. But to me, that makes it easier to squirt out just a little bit and still get a good mix, and you're not wasting it. And 5-minute epoxy on the stuff that we're building, more than enough time. So the JB Weld, if you can find that. There's a few other brands very similar. You know, some of this stuff like this, you know, I bought it at Hobby Town. It is really specifically marketed toward hobbyists, but that's marketing, right? The epoxy in those is probably exactly like the epoxy in this. In fact, you know, they look very similar color-wise. So don't feel like you have to buy a hobby-specific adhesive. Now, when it comes to paints, that's another story, and there's arguments both ways on that. I do prefer hobby-specific paints for my airbrush, especially. Rattle cans, you know, that's up to you. But, so the epoxy, JB Weld, I like that. And the other adhesive issue that I have sometimes is the Scioacrylate, CA glue, super glue, right? And again, these are marketed really for the RC hobby, and they generally claim a hefty price for the small amount that you get. And the problem with both is the shelf life, and a lot of times before I've even used near half of this bottle, it's already gummed up. Oops. It's already gummed up and isn't usable, so you end up wasting quite a bit of it. So with that thought in mind, I picked up these. And these are just, you know, kind of one-time use little squeeze bottles. I don't know that you could use it and reuse it. You might be able to. I have not really used them yet. But for the quantity and the price, it made me feel a little better. Not to mention that I can buy these at a little bit of a discount through my employer. But quantity-wise, without the discount, it's about 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. They're almost the same price. You might save a few pennies on these over this, but I think overall this is probably a better value just for the shelf life of it and these little squeeze tubes that it comes in. So if you can find those, any of the local automotive parts dealerships should have either the Permatex brand or some other brand that comes in a small tube like that. So you're not probably going to save money up front, but maybe in the long run, because you won't be wasting it, you'll be saving some money. So that's the other thing. So I had this idea the other night, like I usually do laying in bed. I have a feeling that a lot of the aftermarket spark plug wires are oversized for scale. So on my Dart build that I'm still currently working on, I used some internal pieces of wire from stranded wire. And yeah, they were smaller, and I think they look a lot better. But then I thought, guys who do fly fishing, some of them, they tie their own flies, and they use real fine wire for that. So I looked into it, and I found a company online, J. Stockard Fly Fishing, and I found some real fine. This is ultra wire, small size. Now, this actually is too small now, I think, for the plug wires, but it could still be used for, engine compartment wiring details, so it's not going to go to waste. But I think I am still going to order some more, but go the next size up in wires. This is really, really fine. I don't even know how well you can see it on camera. Let me pull this end off because it's holding the end of the wire on the spool. Alright, can you see that? Let me turn this paper over. Alright, you can see there how fine that is. That's probably going to be too fine for plug wires, but I picked up 3 of them. This was, including shipping, this was less than $15. So I think, not a bad deal for that. I don't know precisely where it'll get used, but I have a feeling that, engine compartment details will probably use some of this for sure. But it might be something for you to consider as well. This J. Stockard Fly Fishing. So these are the ultra wire small size, wine, black, and blue. But like I said, they do have another size up from that, and I think I'm going to order that one as well. And I picked up a stash ad. I know I shouldn't be adding to my stash because I'm not building as quickly as I should, but I have an idea for this, a custom paint job that I have in mind for it, and I'll probably do somewhere in between stock and drag on this, like a street car, day 2 street car maybe. But the custom paint job, I've got a really good idea for it, and I'm actually looking for another vehicle, and I wasn't able to find it either at the local hobby shop or at the Hobby Lobby, but I'm looking for a Mercury Cougar, and I'm pretty sure AMT or MPC, one of these two, well, MPC is, what is this, round 2? Anyway, I'm pretty sure one of those two had one out a year or so ago. So I need to look into that. I want to find that. All right, so that's this week's What Did You Buy Wednesday. Hopefully those things will help you out. Maybe, like I said, maybe save a few pennies here and there. Every little bit counts, right? So look into it. Peace and love.